have to get yourself in the right place. I know the countdown was wrong just a second ago, but you'll figure it out. It's going to be just fine. Welcome here, Fail Fast Friday, with yours truly, Morpheus, bringing you, well, the encouragement, the hope, everything you've been looking for, because we got a great, and I mean it, we got a really, really, really great show today. Really great show. Because this guy, some call him friend, I call him hero. Michael Offenbacker. You can't even take me seriously. That was a line of the century too. Some call him friend, others call him hero. I like that. That was good. Can we put that in your email title from now on? Michael, quote.
Absolutely. It'll be my new duty title.
I like it. I like it. Hey, you got 30 seconds to like, share, follow along with a really, really great conversation. Frankly, one that is going to be so raw, just raw, real. You kind of winced at it. It's like, I don't know if we want to get that intense. It's going to be a real honest conversation. Frankly, it's going to make so much sense to you. You're going to say, yeah, this is obvious. We definitely need to fix this because there is a failure happening on Fail Fast Friday. Welcome. It's definitely good to have you. If you're joining us for the first time right here, I am Trigger Jordan, and welcome to the Edge of Innovation on Fail Fast Friday with your strategic innovation team, right nestled, all snuggle up, all close in the strategic studies group for the Vice Chief of Staff. It's Morpheus, and I'm your host, Trigger Jordan, bringing you the celebrations of failure. Now, this truly is celebrations, but before we get any farther, I do want you to know this and need you to know this. If you haven't done it yet, you really should take a moment to be able to do something along these lines. Right there, go to YouTube, wherever you're watching from, YouTube, follow along, /Morpheus or Morpheus AF as well. You can subscribe there, follow, like, share, hit the bell, whatever you got to do on whatever platform you're listening on. Don't waste your time with finding out about these things after the fact. You should just go ahead and do it. So you might as well. Also, you can go to morpheusaf.com to follow along for this great conversation that you're going to be glad that you were part of. Because, my friend, there's some real things we probably need to discuss when it comes to some failures. Because we just literally were talking about this a second ago. Here's the funny thing. The thing that I told you I'm not going to tell you right now because I just want to get your reaction live. Here it is. This week, I added up the amount of time. I did this before our call earlier. I added up the amount of time that I spent on calls with organizations talking about duplicity of efforts multiple different times this week. This week, a total of 6.27 hours was spent with 4 different organizations talking about the importance of aligning efforts. Here's the funny thing. All 4 organizations talking about the same effort.
That's awesome.
I got something for that. Ready? Yep. That's why we're celebrating Fail Fast. That's what we're celebrating today, friends. Oh my gosh. But dude, let's just get honest real. There's a lot of it going on. But that's compared to where we were 4 years ago. I'll let you take us back there. Compared to where 4 years ago, this is a good problem to have. It's a good problem to have. At least we're solving challenges. But where were we 4 years ago in the Air Force innovation ecosystem? Did it exist?
Yeah. So, I mean, anytime I look at anything and start to kind of realign, if the participants that have come to the cross flows, they've seen this. We like to talk about where we came from, know the history of it, so we understand where we're at, but then also kind of come together for where we're going or where we should be going. And I mean, I started with Arctic Spark up here at JBear, 3.5 years ago now, as we stood that up in the fall of 18. I mean, the ecosystem was young. There wasn't really a whole lot of collaboration other than show up to a summit and meet a bunch of cool people and forget what each one had to offer because you met so many cool people over 3 days.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of ego drive behind a lot of the efforts we were taking on at that time too, and I've seen that over the years. It kind of the ecosystem has grown, it's matured just in how we operate, and it's still there in some capacity. It's still there. Dislocation, it's still there. Um, time zones. I'm in JBear, so I feel the struggle of collaborating across time zones for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it, but yeah, we get hung up in our own ego in like so you'll feel it like so now I have the luxury of kind of getting a bigger picture of kind of where we're at with things, and I love going to Spark Cells, and I've been to quite a few this year, and how every single one is the center of the innovation world. Like, oh no, it's here
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we have, and it's awesome because like the energy is like incredible around it,
Yeah.
and like the thing is like you're talking to them and they're not wrong, like
Right.
they're not
Right.
wrong, but like there's so much going on that like then the projects become siloed based on, well, they feel like this is the place to solve it. I mean there's so many different reasons and variations that and so I mean we're still siloed in so many ways that we're creating these duplications of effort, duplications of problem statements, and I think we just um, you know there's ways now to kind of collaborate and work outside of that, but
Yeah.
we're still siloed. But I think it's shifted. Like the shift I see is it used to be we're going to solve this problem
Yeah.
and we're going to get the credit for it.
Yeah.
Now it's like we're set we have the place and the resources to solve the problem, that why would we go anywhere else? And um, I think you know the the energy is something to feed off of for sure, but
Yeah.
uh, we still need to work on breaking silo efforts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for those who don't know, if you rewind 3, 4 years ago, 2017, I don't know, fall of 2017, I guess, maybe spring of 2017. That's really where, if I remember right, that's when AppWorks really began. Was a pitch by Tony Perez and several others saying, "Hey, this is," and it was the idea of the Spark Cell and what could be done and what was possible, and then it grows out from there. So previously, this internal ability, as I understand it, I never saw it before then, but this internal ability to solve your own problems with a Spark Cell or innovation cell or whatever, it didn't exist. There wasn't anything like that. If you wanted something, it was just you doing it on your own. There wasn't a hub for it. And that growth that's happened. I mean, you're right in the mix of it as working with AppWorks Spark with a Spark Cell coordinator. So, and that's one of the things we'll talk about, which you'll have to tune in next week because we're talking about the wins of the expansion of what that is, of how they're restructuring, organizing Spark Cells to do exactly this, to do this deconfliction. But this was important enough to hit it up on a Fail Fast Friday for this reason. No kidding, 6.27 hours of my week this week was spent with organizations. And there was a header in the email, don't get me wrong, and the calendar invite. However, it wasn't until you get in the conversation, you're like, wait a minute, were you on this call? Did you know about them? No, didn't know about them. Had no idea. How is it? There are tools now that are being used, multiple different tools to deconflict projects and efforts. Again, those aren't 100% effective yet because not 100% of people are using them. Some people don't even know about them. Specifically, one that's very popular in Spark Cells, Vision, right?
Yes.
And that's something that leaders can go on. They can log on to. They can see the projects of the Spark Cells that are in their organization or in their wing. But they can also see other projects that people are working on across the Air Force, right, in the innovation cells. Have you seen more and more people seeing and collaborating and kind of deconflicting in those efforts, or is it still new enough where it's like, it's going to work, but it's just going to take a bit?
I know that the timing of this will be Friday. It'll be tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
But the of right now, actually Vision is celebrating their 1 year birthday right now, like as we speak. So I think it's pretty awesome that over the course of the year, we I believe I went out to DC in November, and we sat in a room of, yeah, I think we had 40, 50 different participants from Spark cells around the world that contributed to kind of the what Vision uh, needed to have in it. We gave it the first review and created some of the mods to it to kind of build to what it is. Um, so I mean, this year we've really worked on getting adoption to that software, to that platform, and the adoption has actually gone really well. The adoption of it has put
Yeah.
over what 3,000 users and 2,000 initiatives in Division in just 1 year.
Holy
Uh,
cow.
it's grown outside of Spark to many other organizations that are all contributing to it, and the tools are being used.
Yeah.
But and Vision does a great job. Stacy will, if you jump on a call with Stacy, they'll walk you through the platform, how to use it, what all the tools are. The there are I'm not saying there's not, because there's a lot of good collaboration going on there. I don't think as many users are taking advantage of the deconfliction.
Yeah.
I have an idea. Let's use some keywords. Let's find stuff by hashtag and see what's out there.
Yeah.
Um, and let's collaborate in a project. But at the same time, I would say the failures and the leadership community, and I right there with it too, that we've given a tool. The company will demo that, but who is modeling the behavior for how to collaborate? What does collaboration look like in Vision?
Oof.
I think we all have. I definitely have kind of my idea of what that looks like, and I'm sure many others do. But I don't think we've still correctly modeled what not the software does, but the social aspect of collaboration. What does that actually look like across a platform? And, uh,
Yeah.
and I think that's kind of where we're at now. Is okay. Vision's here. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Uh, let's establish kind of an ops tempo and that cadence for how we uh, groom collaboration, and then pull the projects that are highly collaborative into a larger structure and adopt them at higher levels. Um, I mean, if there's collaboration on a project that reaches that's kind of organically through Vision scale itself across one community, much less if you can breach a second community or from MagCom to MagCom. Obviously, they're going to gain traction faster. Um,
Yeah.
but again, modeled, what does that look like?
Yeah.
And I think that's the kind of that next iteration that we need to establish.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I missed it. I missed it previously, but I'll go ahead and do it now, just for them. To Vision, it's probably time just to have a little happy birthday party to you, to say congratulations. You deserve it. 1 year. Good job. Good job. All right. That's all you get. But just
Incredible team out there.
they really, really do. And there have been other phenomenal teams as well that have been working also across, Air Force. Different people have different contracts, and there's different programs for different initiatives. We've heard Productable several times. You've heard Gain as well. Each of those working to serve their initial intent of what they're doing, of just bottom line in either capacity, helping airmen across the board. So the efforts of being able to not only identify, okay, what tool do we use, but this is the part where I love talking about it on Fail Fast Friday, is there's this dink, 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 this human element, this part that really, how should I say, matters with this person, which is, how do you apply this person to collaborating with that person and actually getting it to the place where we want to? engage with each other. You know what I mean? That where we say before we go off and spend the money, before we go off and do something. And this is one of the things I literally heard on the call earlier, which was a great point on one of the 6.7 hour cumulative calls, talking about the same topic with different people. Which is great. Don't get me wrong. Truly love it. I didn't realize it until we were actually doing this, that's how much it was. But one of the things that were said is specifically to the idea of how do you get people out of their silo to not be so action oriented that they're action oriented in complete parallel with somebody who they should be partnered with? How do you get people to not be so driven? Because that's kind of what innovation does. It like sparks you, no pun intended, to say, okay, hey, let's get after solving a problem. Let's identify what a real challenge is, what's the actual setback, not just the symptom, and get after bringing solutions to it. But there is a lot of wisdom in this ability to at least look across the space, left and right, and say, hey, are you working on the same thing? You are? Okay. Well, you want to work together? There's a lot of kind of importance in that. And to me, that's why I think it's really important to bring it up on Fail Fast Friday. If you rewind the clock 5 years ago, none of this ecosystem existed. It just didn't. So now, 5 years later, we have how many Spark cells out there?
Right now, I just went back through the list, and we're at 107.
Oh, jeez. I remember when Tony is saying it was like, man, we're like almost 70, and now it's 107, and that's massive, because that's not just airmen and guardians and men and women out there working to solve their challenge. That's like standing up a team. That's like leadership investing into solving their own problems. That's massive. All of that, huge win. Don't get me wrong, not saying that. But as a tendency happens, you have major wins that take place, and those wins expose weaknesses that previously you never saw before, maybe. And I'd just say, offer this. There are definitely weaknesses in the growth of innovation, and they get exposed. It doesn't mean innovation is bad. It doesn't mean that the chaos that takes place within creating ideas is bad. That's not the case. It's incredibly good, but there are going to be, as the tide rolls out, there are going to be shipwrecks under the waves that happen, and don't be shocked when we see those challenges. And now we just need to deal with it. Now we just have to work with it. How do you suggest we fix this? Now I know there's platforms, but realistically, how do I, as an individual, if I'm the innovator out there who's going to speak with you at a Spark Coordination event or one of the summits, what do you say to me to start not adding to the problem?
Yeah, and this is not just with our Spark cells, but with leadership. This is a major concern, and we get wrapped around it probably easier than we should. Not that it's not a problem worth solving, but it's definitely a problem worth understanding. That we have all the problems of a typical organization, especially a new organization standing up that's struggling with scale. We have all of those problems, but we also have the problem of a network that is operating like no other network in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And there's definitely things we've taken from industry, and we've moved it. We've tried to talk about the 20% time, and we've talked about entrepreneurship. None of those concepts are new, but I don't think we're asking say the janitor at GE comes up with the perfect way to do X, Y, and Z. We're not asking him to talk to the janitor community globally and to connect, to collaborate on what the best way to move forward is. And then, oh, by the way, go out and shop for your own stakeholders to represent this to leadership. It's bought, packaged, and sold, at their level and moved by champions.
Right.
But I mean, we are literally asking airmen to become, key stakeholders in these ideas that are going to change the way we do operations across the Air Force in some ways. look at where we moved with virtual reality. We don't have virtual reality airmen as an AFSC anywhere in the Air Force, but we have a whole lot of airmen that have become experts in it really quick over
Oh
the
yeah.
course of a few. And I mean, now we have enterprise solutions coming down, and not to say that there is direct correlation to what Spark has done on that front to
Yeah.
drive a demand toward that.
Yeah.
Uh, so there's definitely unique challenges to what we're doing. So to understand kind of where we're at, where we're coming from with that, I think it's easier to realize why there's these struggles we need to work through. So no, it's the do we need to work on it? Absolutely, we need to work on it. Do we need to place as much uh, energy as we are in wrapping ourselves around that, this being the main problem with Spark? I think we need to talk more about the wins we do have,
Yeah.
and where we've come before we, drown the whole network in sorrows
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
a natural problem that comes.
Yeah. 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 No, totally agree. By and large, there's so much goodness taking place. I love that I live in this era of the Air Force. I mean, it's really cool. I mean, it's really cool to just see the genius that's taking place across and the integration that is taking place all the way from the airman level, even to general officers who are getting a new mindset about things, of how they're learning and what they're assimilating, what they're looking at. Like, there truly is breakthrough taking place. Totally agree with you with that, and we need to celebrate that more often. And in the meantime, identifying those things just like this, like, we can do a better job collaborating. Of course, there's somebody probably has like a 7-step process of how to be able to do it. Today's Fail Fast Friday is literally this. Here's an area where we as an Air Force need to do a better job, or even just Department of Defense, because one of the conversations, I won't say the organization, they're not in the Air Force, but guess what? They are also a very large federal machine, and they have all the exact same problems that we have, and they are just 3.5 years behind us, having the same kind of discovery idea of, hey, what would happen if we did this? I was like, hold on, let's just save the next 3 years of you having to thrash. Let me introduce you to AFWorks. let me introduce you to the Spark people. They were like, what is that? I said, hold on, you might want to sit down. You might want to sit down for that introduction. You might, which is really cool. Hey, and it's okay. I mean, that's the whole point of Fail Fast Friday. Back when Colonel Stefanovic said, hey, we can talk about wins, but let's talk about failures too. It was such a cool idea, noble idea of just, we need to celebrate those areas that we suck at as much as the areas that we are growing at, because if you can't recognize where you're not good, you can't fix it. You can't. So what would you say to those who are listening, who are going to watch this later and say, okay, I take your point. Maybe I need to collaborate more. What would you tell them to do literally today, right now, as an action step, as a call to action, as Michael Offenbacker is saying, listen, get to work?
That doesn't sound like me at all, but
it was a good voice though, man.
It was pretty good. Yeah.
Just kidding.
I would say know where you've come from, and understand where you are and why you're there. But they need to make the plan to move forward. We all own this network. The only thing that's keeping us from doing the same things as myself and some of these other entities that are out there is an email that's behind you. But there's nothing to say you can't host your own collaboration event somewhere else. Let us know it's happening so we can help you out.
Right.
But there's absolutely no reason why we as a network can't close the gap.
Yeah. As you say that, question for you. If there are outside entities, not Air Force entities, that are holding a collaboration event effort like you're talking about, should they reach out to you as well? If they're like, hey, we're focusing on autonomy of blah, blah, blah. I don't know what it is. We're going to make We're going to make the Twinkie autonomously unwrap itself. I don't know what it is. Should they reach out to AFWorks and say, hey, we have an event. Do you have anybody who's interested? I know that's like a loaded question because there's constantly vendors hitting the innovation space asking for help. But if there are efforts, organizations, universities, industries, other governmental entities, because there's been a lot of collaboration, even DHA, Department of Health, TSA, they've come to the DC collaborator events before and learned a lot, and we've learned a lot from them. So I guess to add to that, I would just say, yeah, if you're an organization that's pulling multiple organizations together to collaborate, don't forget about us, the USAF. We like to deconflict ourselves as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We can jump on Vision and see who's playing in that area and use our own tool to.
That's right. Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Kind sir, it's always a pleasure and a privilege learning from you. Thanks for joining us. And we'll see you next week for Winning Wednesday when we're talking about the breakup and the breakdown. Not the breakup. That's not bad. I should play a sad song now. Not the breakup. The breakdown of AFWorks Spark, how they're organizing themselves geographically to come together. We're going to be talking about that. Winning Wednesday next week. Don't miss out. We would love to have your input. Also, if you have any questions, Morpheus would love to be able to help you. Michael, we'll see you later. I didn't even say bye. Bye, friend. We'll see you in a second. Reach out to us right there, team@morpheusaf.com. We'd love to be able to help you find what you're looking for, get you connected to any solution, or get your question answered, because like Michael said, there's a chance somebody's working on it. So without further ado, enjoy your weekend. Thanks for joining us right here. Morpheus, your strategic innovation team at the edge of innovation each and every day, right here with you. Thanks for joining. We'll see you next time on Winning Wednesday. Bye, friends. See ya.